Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. It's Adam Ratliff with Adam So Fun, and today we are going to be making a bag on the long arm. But before we get into that, don't forget to please like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you're notified when new videos drop. And don't forget to follow me on social media, Adam So Fun with an SEW on Facebook and Instagram. So a few weeks ago, I guess a month ago or so, I was working with at the Bernina University, and I was working with Superior Threads. But you know, you see the other booths around and you're talking to other vendors, and across the aisle from us was Lori from June Tailor, and I was chatting with her and I kept looking at their projects. And June Tailor has a set of projects that are quilt as you go, kind of stitch and flip. And some genius things, you know, you stitch and flip a block, and then they have binding, like a bias double fold binding that's on two sides, so you can stick your blocks together and just top stitch it. I don't know. But they had some really cool stuff. But they had these shopping bags, and we're in California, and we have to take shopping bags with us. And I have 3, but it's time to make some new ones. I think these are when we first got our machine, so 9 years old when I started quilting, 10 years old. So I was chatting with her, and I was looking at it, and we were talking about construction. I said, I bet you I can make that on the long arm. And she, you know, she's like, what do you mean? I said, I think I could do that whole process, almost the whole process on the long arm. I'm gonna get a set. So I ended up getting a set. This is the set of 3 shopper totes. So today we're making a shopper tote. I will show you, we'll go through the steps and everything. Almost everything can be done on the long arm. You're gonna have to make the straps at your domestic machine. You will have to make, like sew everything up. We can piece the bag itself, but you know, and we can put the straps on. We just have to make the straps at our domestic machine. We'll have to sew the bag together at our domestic machine and then put the binding on. But by doing this on the long arm, I think it's going to be faster because I can just stitch, flip, press, repeat, and get through all of this instead of having to stitch and then come back, put my next piece. I don't know. It's either going to work or it's not. I'm posting this video either way, so if this doesn't work out, we're gonna see where I failed. It does come with 3, so I can always try again. And I will be honest, this one that's the diagonal, which I think might be my favorite, I'm not sure if the system's gonna work on the long arm because of how it's laid out. And when you actually see them laid out, because they're bigger than I thought. I looked at them, but I don't know why. I was like, oh yeah, that'll fit. So we're gonna do, like I said, we're gonna do the middle one. The 3 different names are, you have the pocket shopper, that's what we're making. You have a braided shopper, I think I actually like that one too. And then you have the angle shopper, which is this one. So you do get 3. What I like about this is you get 3, you get the solid bases that you can put in. They come like this. I thought there was only 1, and then I dropped them and they all fell apart, or they split up. So you get your bases, you get the picture, and it's kind of just telling you stitch and flip. You get the patterns, or well, the substrate, we'll talk about this in a second, and then the pattern. And I really like it because the braided and the pocket shopper, I believe both of those are very fat quarter friendly. You do need a little extra for your pocket on the pocket shopper. So, and you know me, I'm just gonna follow directions. This is how the patterns come. So it is, again, stitch and flip. So if you don't have a long arm and you have a domestic and you just like to watch my videos, you can make one of these because you can do it on the domestic. That's what they're made for. But you get this big substrate material, and you can see all the lines. I wonder if you can see both sets of lines. I'll drop one. So this one is the angled shopper. So you can see the angled lines, and everything's on here. So it's sewing by numbers. They're very beginner projects. So even if you're someone who doesn't have a long arm, you're like, oh, I don't want a shopping bag. Maybe you're teaching someone how to sew. Great projects because it's like gets them used to the 1/4 inch. This is the braided, so you can see how you have the braided design in the middle. But again, we're gonna be doing the pocket shopper. I've already done a lot of stuff. The first thing the pattern says to do, you'll see, let's see, on this side of the strip, there's 2 lines that go all the way down. So these are for your handle straps. So the directions say to cut these off, cut around your design 1 inch around everything, 1/2 inch to 1 inch, because you're gonna cut that off later anyway. So I already did that. You'll also see that this is, like, it comes folded. It comes in a pack like this. So I also went in and I ironed this. Now, this is a polyester. If an iron touches it, it's going to melt. So I just grabbed some fabric that I found in a container. It's this circle fabric, which I kind of like. That's actually the backing. Let's see. And I doubled it up just to make sure. But I had the circle fabric, doubled the fabric up, laid it on its top, and I pressed it. And that helped keep everything flat while it's going to be on the long arm. Today I am going to be using my LauraStar. I'm setting it to medium setting. And I'm going to try to iron stuff right on the quilt top. The thing with the LauraStar is that it shoots that steam out. So I'm going to be able to move my machine away and then fold and just shoot steam out to be able to steam those pieces. And just so you know, June Tailor has a lot of stuff. I will link them below, junetailor.com, but I will link them below. This is a quilt as you go table runner. So again, this table runner, jelly roll friendly, I believe. And you can do it, you can do everything. It's gonna be done. So I'm gonna do the bag first. Probably should have started here because this is easier and we would have been done faster. But why start with the easy when you can just jump in? One thing that I'm doing over with the bag that they don't say in the directions, so I hope it works, I'm adding some batting. This is Quilter's Dream Recycled. This is made from recycled water bottles, which is why it's green. I think it's called Quilter's Dream Green Poly. So this is a polyester batting. I use it. I really like it. Actually, has a really nice feel and a really nice drape. The problem is it's green. So if you have a white quilt, you cannot put this in the middle of it. This is a shopping bag, so I don't care. I've already went through. I read the directions. Can you believe it? And I've cut my strips. So I have strips here. I have my pocket pieces. I have strips here. And I was checking something out on the top. So I have my strips here. So I have my left strips, my right strips, and my pockets. And I've already went through, like I said, I laid these out. I wanted to see what they were gonna look like. I changed my order, but remember you only get 3 changes. And this is where I think I'm gonna end. I ended up using, this is a cotton and steel jelly roll. These are some old jelly rolls. I don't remember why I bought them, but I had 2. So this is rifle paper by Cotton and Steel. It doesn't actually say what the line is. But I think it's the Alice in Wonderland line. Whatever, but I had a ton of this. So this is gonna be the inside, this is going to be my pockets, and this is going to be my handles. So, yeah, we'll see if it works. So, what other things? You will need a ruler and a ruler base to do this. You could probably try it freehand, but you can't use a ruler without a ruler base. So I have my ruler on. I'm gonna be using the square foot today. If you don't have a ruler base and you're like, oh, I don't like rulers, but I wanna try this, the square feet will help you out. So I would suggest getting the square feet. I am using the square foot today, the 1/4 inch, because that's gonna give me another visual aid to just run this foot up against the lines. Like I said, I'm gonna be using my new LauraStar. I love this thing. If you're interested, I will link them below so you can kind of go online and look at some of the things that they do. This is the LauraStar Lift Plus. I love it so far. I am digging it. I actually took it to my bedroom and I steamed a shirt the other day. So a shirt and some pants. And I just hung my pants, set it to steam, shot the steam through them and pushed it down, steamed it amazing. So I'm like, oh yeah, I have a steamer too. So I put it up here because it has a nice long cord and it has a long reach. So I'm gonna be able to get to my quilt top without having to move it. Usually I would keep it on the ground, but I don't want it to get in the way, like by the way of foot and everything. So I might move it if it starts bugging me. I am using So Fine thread today in my top and my bobbin. I'm gonna be stitching with a pink because I think after I piece it, I'm gonna go through and I'm gonna throw a quilting design across the thing before we actually go and make it into a, cut it out and make it into that bag. I used my TOA gauge and tensioned my bobbin. You know me, I'm a TOA fan. I've changed, I put a new needle because I just finished that whole cloth quilt yesterday, so I need that. And yeah, I think we're ready to run. So I'm gonna bring you over here and we're gonna get started on this bag. I'm super excited. I think this is gonna be super fun. And you know me, I like to think outside the box. So we'll see you back here in a minute. All right, so my first step, per the instructions, is to stitch on the solid outside line. And it actually says stitch right inside it. The reason for this is this solid line is gonna be our final cut line. So we're basically stitching right inside this line all the way around. I think you can see that. Perfect. We're stitching right inside the line all the way around. One, this will baste our top down because we're gonna baste the outside. The other thing is that's gonna give us a cut line to line our ruler up later when we cut this, because when we stitch and flip, number 19 or something like 27 is going to go outside the lines, 29 is going to go outside the lines. So this is going to give us a place where we can cut it, trim it from the other side. Your backing fabric, whatever you load on the back, mine is loaded upside down back here, it will be the inside of the bag. So you are going to be able to see the stitching. So if you want to use a thread that works with that, that's fine. To me, it's the inside of the bag. I just don't care. You know how I work. So I'm going to come over here. Today I'll be using my favorite tool, my handy dandy Versa tool. This is, you can't see it. Whatever, I'm using this one. Versa tool, there we go. The Versa tool. This is my favorite ruler. It touches everything I do. I'm also gonna be using Mickey's favorite ruler, the mini scallop ruler. It has some scallops on the top side, but on the back side, it has a longer straight edge. I just want a ruler that has a long straight edge and my stopping points. These are really gonna help me whenever we start stitching and flipping, because I'll show you that. Oh look, there you can see kind of where the stopping points are. This will really help me when we're doing the stitch and flip stuff because I have things to line up with, and I'll show you that whenever we get there. So my first step is to stitch around that outside edge. Nothing crazy, I'm stitching. This is a bag, so I'm gonna stitch it 12 stitches per inch instead of my usual 10 because I feel like I need a tighter stitch because I'm gonna shop with this. And if you're like me, you're gonna fill that bag up with as many things that can fit in there because you don't wanna have a second bag. So, and I'm coming right inside the line. It's very hard for me to do this with my light off. The other thing, if you have this lined up really straight, I kind of went through, you probably could use your channel lock at this point, but I'm just going to use my ruler. Maybe turn my gears off. The other thing, remember, we are stitching this outside. If it is not perfect, it's okay because this is going to be in a seam allowance. And I do stop my machine every time I move that ruler. I'm gonna continue this, we'll be right back. I am using my SewTites side clamps. So these have a SewTites magnet. I will link the video below if you're interested in those. You can see that they don't interact with my ruler base like it would if I were hitting those clamps, which is why I always use my, I call them my side leaders. Thanks, Barb Tatira. So there we are. I'm gonna pretend I did the bottom because I'll do the bottom whenever we actually advance. So let me zoom you out and let's get you situated for all right, so you can see that there's all these blocks with lines. Each block has a number, so this is really kind of like paint by number. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm gonna kind of skip and I'm gonna work my way to the right and then I'm gonna work my way to the left. It's gonna be easier and faster for me because I can just do 1, 2, and I've lined my threads up my fabrics up for that already. So this is my center block. So that one's gonna go here. It is in the pattern, it says starch them. I did not starch them, I just pressed them with some steam. But you can see that these are placement lines, they are not stitching lines. This is a little trick that I learned in paper piecing, but I'm gonna use some Elmer School glue, a glue stick, just to hold this first piece down. It's not really made to hold fabrics down, so I can still pull it off. Even once it dries, I can take it off if I wanted to. I don't want to, but I could. So here are my colors. So I'm gonna do the blue is 2, the flowers is 4, the other blue is 6, the flowers are 8. When you get over to 10 and 10B, this is my pocket, and then 12 will be the last tan. So I'm just going to lay my fabrics on top of each other. Because I have placement lines, I know that that's placed right, and the tip of these jelly roll strips, the point is the edge. So now I'm going to, the hardest thing with the square feet is to get your fabric under there. It does say a scant 1/4 inch. Oops. So I'm gonna come, so the edge of my foot is right on the other side of that block. Bring up my bobbin. And this is where you get to decide if you wanna be fast or you don't really care about what the inside of your quilt is going to look like, or their bag is going to look like, or you want to be more precise. So I'm going to line up my ruler, and again, it has these little notches in the ruler. Can we see them? You might not be here. Let's see. So there's a notch right here. Oh, there we go. There's my notches. I'm lining up the edge of the notch just on the other side of my placement line, because that placement line is that 2.5 or that 1/4 inch. Wait, let me see. The placement line is the edge of the fabric, and I want a scant 1/4 inch. So I'm just going a little bit over, and I'm gonna move it up a little bit. I do have a square foot, so it's easy to line up. I'm gonna hit my start button, and I need to stitch back, because I want to get the edge of that piece, and then I'm going to stitch all the way towards me, slide my ruler down, line everything up, slide my ruler down, line everything up, and then I'm just going to stitch down and off, and you're going to be like, wait, that doesn't look right. So now I can fold my fabric over, and just finger press this, and now I'm ready for my next piece. Uh-oh, you can't really see. I'm gonna trim this one, but I'm not really gonna trim them in the future. So we were here. Throw this away. I stitched. I can fold over. And if you have one of those little irons, this is the perfect time. But remember, you do not want, well, you don't want to iron on your quilt or on your machine. So I'm not going to iron where I have my bed here. I also don't want to touch the iron to my substrate or it's going to melt it. So there we go. So there's my first piece. So now I'm going to pick up my next piece. Lay it on. Oops. I'm going to hit that with an iron. What I'm going to do is I have a scrap of fabric. Okay, so I finished my first one. I trimmed it so we can see the process. I'm not going to do what I was going to do because I was just going to stitch. When I do the next one, I'll stitch up and then leave my machine there so you can see what I was talking about. But I've stitched. I'm going to fold this over. Now you can finger press this if you want. I'm just a presser. I like to press everything. But remember, we can't have the iron touch this substrate at all. So my iron is set to medium. I have this extra backing that I used in the last quilt. So I'm going to cover this up and bring in my LauraStar. And now my piece is pressed. Oh, that looks good. It feels crispy. So now let's add our next piece. So we're gonna line up our next piece on the placement lines. And this bag is gonna be pretty forgiving because, I mean, it's just stitch and flip. And if you mess up, you're always just gonna stitch over it somewhere. So I'm going to start at the back, or at the bottom. I feel like I keep moving this. You could use a pin, and you can pin this on so it doesn't move. It's totally up to you. I'm more haphazard. There we go. Pop in my ruler, scant 1/4 inch, and go. So what I was talking about, so here's my next one. Flip it. Oops. Finger press. I can trim these extras. Finger press. I'm cutting my thread. Because I'm ironing, I have to cut my thread. I didn't even think about it because I don't want to steam into my machine. So finger press, finger press, finger press. If you have your ruler base on, you can bring your, don't get your fabric, there we go. You can bring your machine and use your ruler base to finger press. Or you can use your seam from your LauraStar. Just again, make sure you do not touch the ruler to your fabric. Or the iron to your substrate. We'll do our next piece. And I'm gonna continue doing these until we get to this one, because that one's gonna be a little bit special. All right, so we are to the pocket. So with the pocket, there's gonna be two pieces. You have your pocket piece and then your outside piece. We want it ultimately to end up with the pocket at the top. So I'm going to, I did pin these together. The pins are here, I'm gonna be out of my way. Also, my scant 1/4 inch isn't very scant. So I'm gonna try to make sure that I am scanting that 1/4 inch a little better. I'll line up all my lines. I love how everything just lines up so nice. And so we're sewing through, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 layers of fabric here. plus, oh wait, no, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 layers of fabric, plus our substrate, plus our batting, plus our backing. We're gonna be fine. The machine's gonna do it. The hardest thing is going to get the machine, get the fabric under the foot. There we are. Can line it up a little better. Now all these little threads you really don't have to cut because they're all going to be covered by something. So now I can fold this over. Oh, my scant 1/4 inch was much better there. This one's done. I'm going to take my pins out because these don't really need to be there anymore. And I don't want to sew over them. Oh, that looks so good. Hit it with my iron. There you have it. Oh, look how good that pressed. Even with all those layers of fabric, or of, yeah, fabric. So I'm gonna get my last one. Now this is directional, so I wanna make sure I have it going the correct direction. And this is, I want the horse facing down. I'm gonna move this one out of the way just in case. You shouldn't have to. Line this up. And we'll sew that last piece. Now, let's say you don't have the ruler base and you're not a ruler user and you still want to do this. So I have my square foot. I'm going to keep my square foot lined up where it is. And I'm actually going to go in and change my button. I'm going to drive, I can't drive left-handed. So I am going to just hit start. Trying to keep everything straight. And there's my final piece. I'll hit it with some steam. I'm gonna go do the other side because it's done the same exact way, and then we'll come back. All right, so here we are. I finished stitching all of the pieces down. Also, don't put your hand under the quilt top as you're shooting steam through it because it will burn your hand. So I took a little break. So now I'm gonna add these strips. I've added the bottom strip already. We're gonna add the top one. So I have my strips cut and it's the same thing. We're just gonna stitch and flip. So I'm gonna line up my edge with my line at the top. I'm gonna put it there. Now I'm gonna bring my machine down. One thing you wanna be aware of and be careful about, we have the square foot. We don't have a glide foot on, and all of these edges you can get caught up on. So just be aware, you have to be a little extra careful when you're moving around. I'm just actually gonna go over here, grab my ruler, and again, I have the nocks on this ruler, I'm gonna line those up when I'm working with the blue line. Uh-oh, not on that side. With the blue line, that's gonna give me a perfect 1/4 inch. So let me come down here, bring up my bobbin and trim, do all that stuff. It's hard to do the bobbin stuff when the lights are off. So here we go. I have to see where that blue line is. There we are. And I always stop my machine when I move a ruler. One of the nice things about using rulers too is that it holds all the fabric down. So the fabric isn't gonna shift as much as we stitch from right to left, or left to right. There we are. And now I can flip this up. Perfect. Yeah, I'm gonna go through, oop, I almost caught my fabric again. I'm gonna go through and finger press, and then I'll hit it with my iron. So I put on, let's see, 16 and 15. These are 15 and 16. So we have to do 17 and 18. So now we're doing 17 and 18. I already did 18 on the other side, so we're gonna line up 17. There's our line. And I'm lining it up with our placement line, not with the edge of the fabric. Because maybe I didn't cut that right, or I didn't line it up right. So we're gonna use our placement line. And in this case, I'm going to turn my channel lock on because I have to drive left-handed, so I'm not in front of the camera. Here. Finger press it down. Remember, everything outside this outside line here, we are going to trim off. And this is going to be the top of the bag, one side of the top of the bag, so we're going to end up putting a binding over that anyway. Something I might actually bind. So now our center panel is done. Oops. So there's our center panel. We need to add, it will work up. We're gonna add the one more blue strip, and then I'm gonna do one side, and I'm gonna do the rest of it without being on camera because it goes so much faster. But let's see. I have this black strip for here. I don't know why I called it blue. One more long strip. Let's see, coming over here. And it's not hard, it's just you're repeating the same steps over and over. And honestly, once you start getting this, like the process and to start assembly lining it, like these ones went so fast. This will fold up. And when I finger press this, I do move my machine over so I can use my ruler base to help me. So now I have 27, 21, 22, 28, 23, 29. I am going to lay this one and this one on at the same time. Remember, we're cutting on this line, this blue line here, all the way around. So we're going to trim off the top of this. So when I stitch this, I'm going to line our lines up. And here we go. And it's all inside the seam allowance, which is the dashed line too. There we have it. So now I'm going to stitch all the way across, and I'll probably just continue that stitch all the way across and then pick up this one. I don't want to have to cut my threads. That doesn't make any sense. All right, so there's half. It's done. Now I am going to remove my side clamps. So now my first step, once I am here, I'm gonna put my side clamps on, make sure everything's nice and flat, and I'm gonna come back in and I will stitch around my outline, and then I will continue what I just did on the other side on the bottom. I'm gonna do that and we'll see you back when it's done. All right, everyone, so we have done and pieced the top. We have done pieced the top. So everything's done. I did my stitch around the outside perimeter because remember that's gonna be somewhere where we're gonna line up and trim. I stitched my pieces, everything stitched down. Remember we used that HQ scallop ruler, or mini scallop ruler to help hold all those pieces down when I stitched. So I want to do one extra step. I want to stitch this out and do kind of an edge to edge. I think fill the flowers might look really good on this. So we're going to end this one here because we've pieced it. In the next video, we will finish it. So I've already made my straps, kind of. I've cut and pressed my pieces for my straps. So we'll finish making the straps in the next one. We're going to do this edge to edge so it does not stitch over our pocket. So we'll talk about maybe how to line designs up and the best placement for those designs so we can crop out that pocket and still have great success. And then what's the other thing? Oh, and then we'll cut it off, trim it, sew it on our domestic machine. Or no, we'll put the handles on and then we'll do all the stuff on our domestic machine. And then we're gonna have a bag and then I'm gonna go shopping because you know me, I like to shop and now I have a bag to do it. So we will see you in the next video. As always, please like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you're notified when new videos drop. Please try this at home. Remember, it's the June Tailor. I will link them behind or I will link them below. Don't forget to follow me on social media, AdamSoFun with an S-E-W on Facebook and Instagram. I do Facebook Lives. I try to do them every Tuesday where you can come and ask questions, and we just have a really good time. Usually it's me showing you what I spent money on. But I do answer a lot of questions there. And you know what? At the end of the day, it's just quilting. We want to have a good time. At the end of the day, we're just making a bag, and it's just going to be full of groceries anyway. So we'll see you in the next video, everyone. Bye.